of the Ministerial Task Force set up to monitor and address issues in the vegetable export system, is confident that regulators have implemented a number of measures to ensure the ban is overturned. Ghana's vegetable export market is worth $10 million, a source of livelihood and revenue to many farming families, exporters and the economy at large. Vegetables like chili stood at about 110,000 tons, okra at 60,000 tons and aubergines also at 46,000 tons, only within the 2012 and 2014 cultivation year. However, this once vibrant business of Asian vegetable export has dramatically slowed down due to a ban imposed on Ghanaian exports to the European markets.
The EU banned 5 vegetables, yes. So there was not an outright ban on all horticultural products. No, some specific vegetables. Yeah, vegetables, okay. The key one was chilies, because chilies for the vegetable sector usually account for about 50–60%. And you know, chilies, they are predominantly grown by our smallholders. And chilies, there are various varieties. I mean, you've got a normal hot chili, we call Legum 42 or beta, you've got Scotland and other types of chilies. So, most of our smallholders grow these chilies. So what has happened is that this ban on chilies has affected the livelihood of a lot of smallholders who produce chilies and get into the supply chain of exporters. So it's been quite bad.
Between 1st January 2012 and 13th April 2015, EU member states notified a total of 735 interceptions from Ghana. 670 of these interceptions were due to the presence of harmful organisms, whereas the remaining 52 were mainly due to non-compliant or missing phytosanitary certificates. Subsequently, chili peppers, aubergine, gourds and some vegetables from Ghana no longer had a place on the European markets. A full ban was now in enforcement. Years of investment into vegetable business came crumbling down.
Initially, we were doing something in the region of about 1,500 tons of vegetables a year. We've been lead exporter a few years running, and we had revenue in excess of $1 million at the height of the business. Currently, we're barely doing, in the first year of the ban, we did less than 150 tons in that year, which is basically like about 10% or less. You know, about 10% of what we used to do previous to that. So that's how, so essentially we've lost about 90%, at least 90% of revenue.
At the cargo terminals, a visiting audit team from the Food and Veterinary Office at the EU noted that besides the infestation of crops in general, no advance notification for the arrival of consignments is provided. Export procedures and the workflow of inspection at the exit points are not structured or systematic.
With the exporters, they should work very closely with the various agencies. They have to be able to show the various agencies that they are committed to sending proper quality products out of the country. Once they have that commitment and they're working well with the agencies, timely deliveries. So don't deliver the cargo too late to the facility, because that puts everyone under pressure to make sure that the cargo flies. If you deliver it timelessly, the inspectors will be able to inspect and do their work correctly, thereby avoiding a future ban of products if they pick up something that can stop the shipment in time.
Sudden and unexpected, businesses came to a grinding halt for these exporters. Pack houses lie empty as little or close to nothing goes on in there. At their peak times, pack houses like Jokopan were doing exports of about 1,500 tons, but now barely 150 tons of vegetable is exported from here. A key proposal was made to ensure that a system for documenting the relevant procedures and maintaining records will be in place, allowing the traceability of phytosanitary certificates.
One of the critical things we've done is to put in what we call a standard operating procedure, SOPs, at our exit points. That clearly spells out how the whole export system has been set. So everybody's clear on the rules. We've got a lot of a lot of stakeholders in this thing. So the SOP basically lays out the pathway as to the rule for each of these stakeholders I mentioned. We've also, with support from our donors and also with government support, provided necessary tools for the inspectors to work with. That is microscopes, hand lenses, We've also set up systems and provided quite adequate logistics and infrastructure for them to work and adequately inspect this produce properly. So these are some of the things that we've done.
On the other hand, pack houses are also required to go through proper certification process and requirements.
During at the height of the global gap setting, and one on the farm in Akusi, so that they need to have you officially registered.
At the ports, cargo handlers like Swiss Ports say they have adopted new and advanced perishable handling facilities to ensure a safe transportation of perishable foods.
Well, what we're doing is we're working closely with the GSAs on the airlines that we are handling currently. We have got the facility that can handle it by the technology that we've invested into Swissport, which is to efficiently handle and maintain the integrity of the cargo. So by doing that, we can tell the GSAs or the airlines that we are able to offer that service and make sure that the product is maintained at all times during loading or offloading of vehicles and so on and so forth. So right now what we are waiting for is the documentation to be handed over to security. This cargo is live fresh flowers that are going now to Amsterdam on KLM tonight. So once the security staff inside the X-ray room get the actual documentation, the IDGs like I had mentioned earlier, this cargo then will be instructed for my guys to X-ray it. Once it is X-rayed, on the other side of the machine we have a unit load device, which is the airline equipment where we will load it onto it, secure it, and then it'll go for loading to the aircraft.
Okay. However, exporters and pack houses remain nervous about losing a grip of their markets as the nation awaits for the ban to be lifted. For instance, in terms of business value, the Ghanaian chili totals $3.8 million, more than any other chili producing country outside the EU.
As we haven't been exporting for the past year and a bit, coming up to 2 years, exactly, coming up to 2 years, people are filling your shoes, and it's a very competitive market. We know that there are other countries that never used to produce Asian vegetables that are currently producing Asian vegetables. Granted, we have a bit of a competitive advantage because of the quality of what we produce, but it's still, there's price, there's other things that you need to compete with. So a big issue is if this isn't done quickly enough for us to get back into the business and carry on competing, there's a likelihood we can lose ground, some ground permanently, which would be very bad for Ghana business.
But should this happen again, what are the alternatives? Ghana needs to sustain and scale up both traditional and non-traditional agricultural export, not just to the European markets, but to the sub-region.
I do believe there is a gap that we could actually have a lot more trade between the sub-region and Ghana. We don't have a lot of interline shipments going to different destinations. Most of the cargo coming in or going out is originating or coming to Ghana. I think what we need to do is involve those various neighboring countries and actually open up the talks between them, and then we can actually start making the transit hub out of Ghana.
Nonetheless, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is confident that the ban will be overturned come September as the EU delegation come for another audit.
It's possible for us to make $20–30 million annually from just these few selected vegetable crops if we do it well. So the potential kind of money potentially that we can make as a country. And I think that I'm hopeful that with the hard work put in by my colleagues, people as the task force, which I happen to chair, I think we'll see a turnaround.
For about 2 years now, that's from somewhere 2015, a ban has been placed on export of vegetables from Ghana to the European markets. Not all vegetables, but some particular vegetables. Now, it is estimated that this is costing government millions of dollars in foreign exchange because we no longer have access to these markets. But for the businesses on the ground, that's the exporters, it looks like the impact has been very great. I'm here at Joko Pan Limited, and as you can see, the scales that are used to weigh the goods for export is sitting idle. Likewise, the table where sorting is done is empty. A clear indication that the businesses have been very much hit by this ban on vegetable export. So for these businesses, they are very much, anxious to see the ban lifted come September as government prepares to meet their mission from the European Union. On September 12, Ghana would either breathe a sigh of relief or go back to the drawing table to improve upon its standards. Ghana will need the $10 million to shore up its export figures and widen the trade surplus.
And that's it for AM Business this week, courtesy EcoBank. We thank you for watching.